Gambia to support progress made in transitional justice, human rights, and building democracy. More than 100 people have been arrested in ongoing climate change protests in London that brought parts of the British capital to a standstill. A monstrous fire engulfed Paris' iconic Notre Dame Cathedral, causing damage to one of the world's most historic and recognized buildings. These are the headlines. More coming on your way on the world today on iAfrica TV. It's 10:30 p.m. in Istanbul, 11:30 a.m. in Washington State, 19:30 GMT here in the Gambia. You're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. We now kick off with our first story. Lamin Kababajo, commander of the State Guards in 1994, has claimed he was unaware of the evacuation of the former President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara to the American ship. Kaba, current president of Gambia Football Federation, said he only became aware that Jawara was aboard the American vessel when he was already on the naval ship. As the head of the security responsible for the protection of the country's top office, Kaba admitted he should have known, but he brought his lack of knowledge to perhaps betrayal by people who were close to the president. Saja Sambu gives us more.
Reconciliation Commission, when its president Lamin Kababajo appeared before commission to testify his alleged involvement in July 22, 1994 coup, among other series of keys involving Usman Koro Caesar's death. Lamin Kaba, who is now the president of the Gambia Football Federation, was the commander of the Presidential Guard of former President Jawara at the State House, said when the news of a coup attempt by some of the military reached him whilst away with President Jawara, he bothered not to relate it to Jawara as it would have been premature and unprofessional.
Information was that some army officers were planning a coup d'etat. Did he mention any names?
No, not at all.
Did you pass on that information to the president?
No, I didn't.
Why didn't you?
No, because it was too early. That was going to be very unprofessional at the time. Because they have a unit of the country that's responsible for internal security. And I think they would have, and the assurance I got from him was that the NSS were already aware, and then they were handling the matter. So they would have processed it, and then the information would further come into an intelligence, and they will know when to. Then they will even inform me before I go direct to the president.
Kababajo said on 22nd July 1994, when he was briefed that some soldiers broke the armory at Yundum Barracks and were heading towards the State House, Jawara have already left for the boat with his family without his notice.
When you're negligent, it's not that you know it years later.
Okay.
You know as at the time you were doing it that you were being sloppy, you were being negligent, you were not paying regard to the consequences of your action.
Of course, I was doing it. I was doing regular follow-ups, but the feedbacks were not coming from the right people.
Let's read out paragraph 28 of your statement. Maybe read it out yourself, and a bit slowly, please. Paragraph 28.
Regarding why there was no investigation, I believe it's just out of negligence. But I have no reason not to proceed with the investigations, neither did I instruct anyone to discontinue the investigations. It was a lapse on my side and on my ministry. Koro was not only a colleague, he was more than that, he was a brother. I said this.
Koro Sise was a brother to you.
Yeah.
He was killed under mysterious circumstances. Correct?
Yes, with evidence coming out now, yes.
Moving to the case of Koro's death, why investigations was not carried out by his office as the Minister of Interior, Kaba acknowledged of failing not only a colleague, but a friend and a brother, but was not done as to gain the cents and dollars from Jammeh or other form of loyalty.
As Minister of Interior, you were negligent in discharging your responsibilities. Those are your words, not mine.
Yes.
You accept responsibility that you were negligent.
Yes.
Okay. We want to know why you failed to do your job.
No, but as I said, maybe I could have done better, but maybe I couldn't do anything more. That was my limit.
The Football House boss Lamin Kabajo will have to resume before the TRRC at a later date again for further testimony as to some pending issues during the various appointments as ambassadors in various countries. Reporting from the TRRC headquarters in Kululi, Sajo Sambu for Africa TV News.
A high-level delegation from the U.S. Department of State is in the Gambia to support the progress made in transitional justice, human rights, and building democracy. During their visit, the delegation met with the Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Ba Tembedu, senior officials from the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, and representatives of local human rights organizations and victims group. The delegation is expected to attend hearing of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission to demonstrate the U.S. support for the TRRC's important role in ensuring accountability and justice, promoting democracy and good governance, and preventing future abuses. President Adama Barrow received 3 new diplomatic envoys today as his government continues to strengthen its bilateral ties with other nations. Ambassadors from Vietnam, Cape Verde, and Republic of Congo presented their credentials to the president at State House this morning. The new Vietnamese ambassador to the Gambia, His Excellency Pham Quoc Tru, reiterated the good relationship between the Gambia and Vietnam based on friendship and common interest.
Okay. I have the great honor to submit to the Gambian President of the Republic today my credentials. Vietnam and the Gambia, our two countries, have a very good relations. A kind of traditional friendship relations between our two countries. As Ambassador Ordinary and Plenipotentiary of Vietnam to the Gambia, I will try my best to consolidate and to reinforce the relations between our two countries, especially cooperation in fields that our two countries have advantages, like maritime economy, tourism, and agriculture. And as the President mentioned today, other fields like education, health, also, we have a big potentialities to develop cooperation between our two countries. In terms of trade cooperation, Vietnam and the Gambia, since several years, the cooperation between our two countries in trade has significantly developed. In 2017, the trade volume between our two countries raised until 24 billions of US dollar. So the Gambian is one of the important country from which we import some important products like coconut, cotton, and we export also some important products to the Gambia, like pepper, coffee, plastic products. And we hope that in the years to come, our two countries would develop further as their relations and the cooperation in several fields.
The new Cape Verde ambassador, His Excellency Inácio Felena Rosa de Carvalho, said he was discussing with President issues related to ECOWAS, among others.
He said yes, he has just presented his letters of credence to His Excellency President Adama Barrow. They have discussed on bilateral and multilateral issues, particularly at the multilateral level. We are all in the ECOWAS zone, so they have discussed issues relative to ECOWAS. He said yes, there's one important sector which we can be exploited. That is the tourism sector. If it's a very important sector which can be used, we can be exploited to help develop the country.
Presenting his credentials, Professor Luc Jean said Vito, ambassador of the Republic of Congo, pointed out relationship between the Gambia and the Republic of Congo is not visible, but he is going to work hard with the Gambian Foreign Ministry to make sure their relations are on bonjour.
They are not very visible, but essentially it is a very strong relationship. What they are going to do everything possible. He will be working with the Minister of Foreign Affairs to make sure that this relationship is more visible in all forms and aspects. There are so many other areas where these two countries can really work together. But one of the most important is in the area of education, especially the teaching of English, because they realize that Gambia speaks one of the best languages, the best English in the world.
The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Fatou Bensouda, has issued a statement in relation to the escalation of violence in and around Tripoli, Libya. In a statement issued today, she expressed concern on the resurging conflict. The statement reads, "I am deeply concerned about the escalation of violence in Libya in the context of the resurging conflict arising from the advance of the Libyan National Army towards Tripoli and related fighting with forces aligned with the government of national accord. As prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, I call on all parties, armed groups involved in the fighting to fully respect the rules of international humanitarian law. This includes taking all necessary measures to protect civilians and civilian infrastructures, including schools, hospitals, and detention centers. I urge all parties to center the conflict not to commit any crimes within the court's jurisdiction, and in particular for commanders to ensure that their subordinates do not do so. I remind all parties that any person who indicates or engages in such crimes, including by ordering, requesting, encouraging, or contributing in any manner to the commission of crimes within the jurisdiction of the court, is liable to prosecution." Well, viewers, coming up after the break, a monstrous fire engulfed Paris' iconic Notre Dame Cathedral, causing extensive damage to one of the world's most historic and recognized buildings.
Nijaay saako maalo bi jeex na te diwlin bi jeex na dama am pour dem marché.
ah Pape dégg nga li ndaw si wax de léegi nag dimbali ma rek nga lebal ma benn bidon diwlin ak benn saako maalo soo ci mënee boole soble sax nga boole ko ci sama doom Lamine su yónnee xaalis bi rek ma fay la sa xaalis.
non bu diwlin diwlin ma mënuma la koo lebal parce que doo ma dee fay on time loolu moo tax mënuma laa lebal.
daal yow sa doom bi fan la nekk sama doom mu ngi Angleterre daal xanaa yoo yëguloo ba lu service ku ko am fu waay mun a nekk si àdduna bi mën na laa yónnee ndugg si nu gaaw te amul benn jafe-jafe amul ne réew bi dafa po te xoolal soble diwlin maalo pompiteer ak li ñu mel sooy yegg baluwo.com di nga ko am gis nga ku bëgg a jëfandikoo baluwo service bi dugal sa Play Store nga type baluwo.com downloadal app bi nga jëfandikoo ko ci nu mu gën a gaawee.
Welcome back. We remind you that you're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. Let's now take a look at the remaining stories. A monstrous fire engulfed Paris' iconic Notre Dame Cathedral on Monday evening, toppling its spire and causing extensive damage to one of the world's most historic and recognized buildings. The 12th century Gothic cathedral was undergoing renovation work, which local media cited as one of potential cause for the fire.
A massive fire at the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris has been extinguished by firefighters who battled for more than 8 hours to bring the devastating blaze under control. The blaze consumed the historic cathedral on Monday, and firefighters worked through the night to extinguish the fire, which seriously damaged the iconic landmark. One of the city's most important tourist spots, Notre Dame, which means Our Lady, dates back to the 13th century. The cause of the fire was unknown. French President Emmanuel Macron postponed a speech to the nation and wrote in a tweet, "As all citizens, tonight I am sad to see this part of us burning." Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo tweeted, "A terrible fire has broken out at Notre Dame de Paris." Laurent Nunez, Secretary of State to the French Interior Minister, said no casualties have been reported so far. One of the most important tourist spots of Paris, Notre Dame, which means Our Lady, dates back to 1345. Turkey joined the rest of the world in expressing sorrow at the massive fire which has engulfed the historic masterpiece. "We are following the fire destroying the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris with great sorrow," Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu said in a tweet. "The destruction of this masterpiece of architecture is a catastrophe for the entire humanity," he added. "It is with very heavy hearts that we receive the devastating news about the fire in Paris, France. The Notre Dame Cathedral is not just a symbol of France, but part of humanity's shared heritage," Turkey's Presidential Communications Director Fahrettin Altun tweeted. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Alhassan Sise.
Meanwhile, following the destroyed part of Notre Dame Cathedral, His Excellency Macky Sall has sent a message to sympathy His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, in which he expressed to his counterpart as well as the French people and the entire Catholic community his feelings of sympathy and solidarity. President Sall also expressed his conviction that the French people will find in their creative genius the means to restore this great spiritual and architectural work. Ivanka Trump said she would campaign for women's right to own and inherit land in Africa as she visited Ethiopia to promote a $50 million U.S. development project. U.S. President Donald Trump's daughter, who works as his advisor, told reporters at the headquarters of the UN Economic Commission for Africa that women made up just 15% of landowners on the continent. 18 countries in the world still have laws that allow husbands to legally prevent their wives from working. Half of these countries are in Africa. We can and we must address these barriers to women's equality and countries' prosperity, she added. Ivanka Trump met Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and was due to wrap up her 4-day African trip with a visit to Ivory Coast. More than 100 people have been arrested in ongoing climate change protests in London that brought parts of the British capital to a standstill. The protests were organized by the campaign group Extinction Rebellion, which was established last year in Britain's academics and has become one of the world's fastest growing environmental movements. London's Metropolitan Police said that by early Tuesday, 113 adults have already been arrested. Al-Hassan Sise gives us more.
Police in London have arrested more than 100 activists overnight in ongoing climate change protests that brought London to a standstill as some main roads in the city have been blocked since Monday morning. As of Tuesday morning, there have been 113 arrests in total, and majority of which are for breach of Section 14 Notice of the Public Order Act 1986 and obstruction of the highway, a police statement said. Thousands of climate change activists have blocked main roads in London since Monday morning in a bid to protest government inaction over rising global climate and ecological crisis. The protesters blocked Waterloo Bridge, one of the main passages across River Thames, under heavy police presence. The rallies are also being held in Marble Arch and Oxford Circus, other hotspots in the British capital. The organizers, Extinction Rebellion, a grassroots activist movement, have said they plan to continue the protest throughout the week. Each day, thousands of people will sit down in the roads of central London. The protesters are demanding the government to declare a state of climate emergency and reforms to address climate change as an educational priority. While a proportionate policing plan is in place to balance the right to a peaceful protest Officers are well trained to maintain public order and are ready to respond to any incidents that may arise, the police statement added. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Al-Hassan Sise.
Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on the World Today Evening Bulletin. For more on these and other stories, kindly log on to our website, iAfrica.tv. I am Fatmata Jaju. Bye for now.
diwli lanni maaro lanni
fop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno guerdeten e ngal ɗo sabu e ngal ɗo Ibrahima jonnal taw joni mi anda se yahay kapitiki ñawloɗen ha humpodira e makko est ce que on noon e warude
waɗen noon awa
ane kore Ibrahima ma ko to woni
mo Amérique
ko Amérique a woni kede humpitaki fiɓe musidɓe men baluwo
baluwo
ɓe andanɗa kala ko wawɗa wonde e aduna o si a rewi e juuɗe maɓɓe a jonnay ɗo dépassement o Gambia hara no weeɓi a yahata kadi taw ko mbuɗi ɗin no ƴawi walla no jippi ɓe haalantama ko kala ko falɗa ko sengo ñamete ili nebba maaro basal pomme de terre kala ko rewi ɗon a hendoto hara no weeɓi kadi wona ɗum ɗon tu ɓe aɓe jonnira e mobile phone siko ɗum kadi laptop kala ko wayrode juɓe hay kasbawa ɓe wawma jonnude kadi sa fala humpitade ko weeɓi ƴetti google account ma joni data toon waɗa download app maɓɓe on ayiyay kala ko humpima e maɓɓe toon ɓe weeɓiyama
ka wonɗa wo e aduna o
kala ko wawɗa
a jonnanayi wonɗo ka leydi men Gambia ɗo dépense
hara no weeɓi ha ma si ɗum noon fof no neeɓi immoɗen joni mi ɗowtama ka place maɓɓe jan
waɗen joni
yiya heeɓa ko falata
waɗen kisam